Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's video, this video actually is a tutorial on how I do my winged liner, how I do a smoked out wing, how I do a little baby wing and get that lifted eye effect, and then how I pull that out into kind of a cat eye to get that elongated almond eye kind of cat eye effect shape. So I like to have the best of both worlds. I like that lifted up, but I also kind of like it pulled out and smoked out too. So that's what this tutorial is on. Now I just finished filming a tutorial on this eye look, of which I used the Jaclyn Hill palette, and I'm going to post these two side by side. One is going to be like a part 1 and the other is going to be a part 2, so they are actually connected. And throughout this tutorial on the winged liner, I'm going to show you guys what doesn't work for me and what does work for me in my eye shape. And I would just encourage you guys to experiment and play around with different textures, different types of liners, whether it's creams, gels, felt tip, pens, whatever you like to work with. I do all of my little baby wings and cat eye wings. I do everything in a shadow. I use eyeshadow for everything. I love my little shadow wings. So that is what I'm going to be using today. I'm going to be using the shadows from the Jaclyn Hill palette. So yeah, if you guys want to see my tips and tricks and how I do my winged liner, then just keep watching. If you're new here, welcome to the video. Welcome to my channel. My name is Lauren Jade. I'm 57. I have mature, crepey, wrinkly skin. I cannot follow a typical cookie cutter, one size fits all YouTube tutorial. So I am constantly doing things a little bit differently here on my channel for my eyes and my eye shape, and always trying to pass my little tips and tricks and things that I learn on to you guys. So if you're new, please hit the subscribe button, join my little family here, and don't forget to hit the notification bell. That way YouTube notifies you every single time I upload a video. And that is it. Let's just get into this tutorial. Okay, I have already went ahead. I primed my eyes. I use MAC's Paint Pot here in soft ochre. I've already created my fake crease. I'm going to take a little bit of the RCMA translucent white powder, and I'm just going to kind of set my under eye and also do a little bit of baking. I am going to go over kind of what I do on the steps for my fake crease. I feel like I haven't done that in a hot minute because I used to do it all the time, and I just felt like, all right, I need to kind of shorten these videos up. So it's been a while, so I'm gonna go over the steps. Okay, so I feel like it's been a hot minute since I actually kind of showed a little bit of a tutorial on how I create my fake crease, because I used to do that all the time. So I'm just going to kind of go through this super quickly for those of you that maybe have not seen some of my past videos, but it literally is detailed on so many of them, especially my Hooded Eyes 101. So this shade here came from the LC Minimalist palette, which looks like this. This is literally my favorite go-to palette. I use this literally all the time for everything. I can create a quickie, super look, and yeah, it's just my go-to palette. So I'm going to take a tiny bit of this shade. I'm using this angled liner Sephora Pro 207 brush with a cat hair on there, and on one side is an angled liner and the other is a little smudger. And so what I do is, my focus is to start to map out, if you will, the shape. And because I have hooded eyes, I create my fake crease a few millimeters above my natural crease, and I'm really in the hollow of the eye. Now, when you are working with hooded eyes, it does help to look straight ahead so you can see where the crease is and where the shadows are when you're looking straight ahead, right? So this is why it does help, because you want to see this. Like when I look straight ahead now, I can see this. However, I do look down into my mirror so that I can really get a good view of where my natural shading is, because I have hooded eyes. I have natural shading out here, which is why I don't take dark shadows and why I don't like a lot of color out here, because I have my own shading. and that just really kind of emphasizes it. And I can also see my socket line shape, and I can also really kind of see the hollow of the eye, and that's really where I want to get in there and carve out this fake crease, is right in the quote hollow of the eye. So you just kind of got to play with lighting and play with adjustments in your mirror until you can kind of really see that socket line shape. So now that I can see that, I picked up a little bit of product, and I usually start out, I'm going to do it this way so you guys can see. So I usually start out by putting a little dot like right on the actual hood of the eye, and then I get in and I follow my socket line shape. Now, if you were doing a winged out shape, you would just wing it out. I'm just following the natural contour of my own eye shape. So I'm just really getting in there and hollowing out the socket, I guess, if you will. And because I have hooded eyes, I'm constantly working in the socket. So this is the shape that I have created, and this is the shape that I'm going to be following throughout this tutorial. You guys know that I always grab my Hoola bronzer to bronze my crease, and that's because I have so many of these Benefit palettes. I have last year's Blush Bar, and I've got the two from this year, both Cheek Leaders, the Bronze Squad and the Pink Squad. This one is the Bronze Squad. So I'm going to grab the Hoola bronzer right here, and using my Sigma E35 blending brush, I'm going to start out here on the outer corner. I'm going to follow this crease line. I'm going to take this all the way in, and I'm just using kind of circular motions with this. It's just kind of blending it out. I'm not really wanting to deposit any color. I'm just wanting to get a little bit of inner corner shading. It just kind of gives a really nice sultry fade right here. And I like to brush it up to the brow because it just kind of softens this whole area. And I'm always wearing bronzer on my face, so this just kind of ties everything together. The other thing that I like to do while I'm kind of swirling up here and brushing up to the brow is take it into just the slight bridge area right here on my nose contour. And so just to give that kind of nice connection right in through here. I swear I just open up this palette so I can just sit here and smell it. Oh my gosh, it smells amazing. By the way, for bronzer today, I'm wearing the Terracotta bronzer. This is a Contour and Glow palette, but I always contour the eye and get that inner corner shading with the Hoola bronzer, just because I have so many Hoolas. I have a gazillion bronzers, but I have more Hoolas than I can ever use. All right, so next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the Jaclyn Hill palette, and I'm going to grab this shade right here. This is a Creamsicle, and I'm just using this Crown. This is a C507. It's just a really fat shader brush. I'm going to take a little bit of this, and I'm going to just follow the actual crease that I created, and I'm just going to kind of pat this on, kind of press this in. I'm just following the shape. I am just pressing, and I'm just tapping really lightly this color and just kind of placing it exactly where I want it. And the more I kind of press this in, the more it's just kind of fading and kind of melting into the skin. So it's kind of giving me that little gradient fade without really doing any, blending. All right, I'm going to go into my BFF, which is Melt Blur. I don't know where I'd be in my eyeshadow game now without this. I literally, you guys know I cannot do an eye look without it. I'm using a Sigma E40, and I'm just going to dust that right on the edges of that Creamsicle shade. And just kind of melt, I know, right? Just kind of melt that edges kind of out here. This is going to give me that really nice, flawless, airbrushed finish out here, which I really do like. I'm just blending very, very lightly, just trying to pick up the edges. I'm not trying to swirl the color all over the place and swashbuckle all over. I'm just really trying to get a nice airbrushed finish with the edges of that shade. So it just kind of fades into nothing. Like I was saying earlier, because I have natural shading out here, I really don't like a lot of dark eyeshadow out here. That's why I do my little winged smoky wing liner, because that gives me that elongation and gives me that lifted eye effect. So I kind of get that pulled out cat eye effect along with the lifted eye effect through the liner. And so I rarely, you know, will wing out my shadows. All right, now using an M433, I'm gonna grab this shade right here, which is Pukey. Yeah, these names, I tell you. I'm going to plug this right into my socket. Let me grab a mirror here. So I'm going to plug this right into the socket, and I'm just going to follow my fake crease line that I created, and I'm going to be right in the socket. So I'm going to be right on my socket bone right here, right on my orbital bone. I'm just going to plug this in. Now I am wanting the color to kind of be right where I've got this kind of fake crease line, because I'm just going to kind of deepen this up. I'm actually keeping this below that creamsicle shade, and I just want to get in there and get a really nice soft blend with this shade. I'm kind of holding the brush, I guess, kind of horizontally, and of course towards the back of the handle, because I really want a nice soft application. But yeah, I'm holding it kind of horizontally because the bristles on the side of this brush are kind of blending it out for me. And then I turn the brush sometimes sideways and just kind of get a little blend that way. When you hold the brush down here and you're coming straight up like that, you're going to have a lot of color like up in here. It just kind of pushes the color up, and I don't really want that. I want the color to kind of stay right on that actual fake crease line. So I'm kind of holding it a little bit more horizontally just for that reason alone. Plugging this right inside this socket. All right, now I'm going to grab this shade right here, Hunts. And I want to be very precise with this. I'm using a really tiny old, I think it was a 272 from MAC. I'm not sure, the numbers wore off on it because it's really, really old. It's a old goat hair brush, but it's perfect for my small eyes. So I'm going to go right on that fake crease line, which I can kind of see. And I'm just going to add a little bit to this outer corner right here. Right in the socket, but right on this outer corner. I'm very particular on where I want this. So I'm not going to blend this out all over the place. I really want this to be my crease line depth. This is a angled brush, by the way, and because it's so slim, it just really fits right there into the socket. And because I basically just kind of tapped the color exactly where I wanted, there's not a whole lot of blending that I really need to do with this. But what I am going to do is go back to this Pukey shade right here and my M433, which was the last brush and the last shade color that I used, and I'm going to just right on the edges of that. I'm not going to disturb the color by, you know, blending it all over the place, because I want that depth right here to kind of mimic my actual crease. So this is kind of like the new crease, which is right above my natural crease. I want that depth to stay there. I'm just going to tap this on the edges. And then I'm going to go over it kind of like in a little windshield wiper motion here. All right, I'm going to go back into this creamsicle shade right here. And I'm picking that up on the 507, this fat shader brush. And I'm just tapping this again right on the edges just to kind of re-intensify, to bring that yellow back in after the blending of these other shades. When you press and tap like this, it's literally like doing the blending for you. So while you're adding the color, it's also kind of fading upwards. And so you're getting that nice gradient fade. And then at the end, there's just honestly not much blending to do. It just really, the whole process just gives you that nice kind of flawless airbrushed finish out here. So now there's really nothing out here really to kind of blend. I'm just giving it a little final blend just to make sure that it's nice and airy out here. All right, I'm going to grab just a tiny bit of this NYX. I love this white eyeshadow base. I literally use it all the time. I'm going to take just the tiniest bit on just a regular synthetic cream color brush. I think I'm going to grab these shimmery shades here. I don't know which one I want to use yet, so I'm going to pick one, and if it's not the right color, then I'm going to go into the other one. Oh yeah, this will work. This will give me that nice white, light and bright inner corner that I'm going for. And I'm just going to kind of hollow out now right where I want the brightness. By the way, it was this shade right here, which is Beam. And that's the one that's really giving me this nice beam. And don't forget to watch part 2 on how I created this smoked out wing liner for hooded / downturned eyes. And that's it. That completes the look. And love you guys again, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.